lesson that we're going to be covering. So we're going to be looking at Unit 4, Lesson 9. And this is going to be kind of the reverse of yesterday's, where we were taking decimals and turning them into fractions. Today we're going to be writing fractions as decimals. Alright, so yesterday was kind of nice. We were able to look at place value, move things around, and then reduce. Today we're actually going to be focusing on division. So again, I've been kind of warning you guys this day was coming, needing to know division, and today is the day. We are there. We are going to be looking at division and working with division to solve these problems. So yeah, let's get to it. All right. So today's main idea: I will write fractions as decimals. We're going to write fractions as decimals. Okay. And here's our first one. So we're going to write 7/10 as a decimal. 7/10 as a decimal. So what we're going to do is we are going to create a division problem. So I have 7/10. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a division problem. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger for us. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this top number, the numerator, and that is going to go inside my division problem. On the outside, I'm going to put my denominator. Okay? So, and I remember a few people asked about this earlier in this year, and so now, now we're going to cover it. So, how many times does 10 go into 7? We're going to say 0. It doesn't go in any times. But what I'm going to now do is I'm going to add a decimal point, and I'm going to add a 0. Remember, 7, 7.0 are the same number. So I can add a decimal, and I can add zeros as many times as I want. Okay? So now, how many times does 10 go into 70? 10 goes into 70 7 times. Okay? 7 times 10 is 70. I'm going to subtract, and I have 0. So now I've done a division problem, which is it's basic division. This is stuff we've been doing for a couple years now. The only difference is I have a decimal point. And the rule that I now need to follow is I take this decimal point and I move it straight up. Put it right there. So now my answer is going to be 0.7. Okay, that is my answer. This is the work that I should see when you are doing this problem. Okay, so again, very, very important that using graph paper is going to be very important when doing division. One number per box, making everything lined up. If you don't line things up, and going forward, if you don't line things up, it's going to get very, very difficult. So I've tried to tell you guys, let's line them up, line them up, line them up. It's going to be very, very important moving forward that we line these numbers up. Okay, so let's take a look at another problem. Okay, 1/4 as a decimal. Okay, so again, I am going to do 1/4. Okay, so that's the one that I'm looking at. And what I'm going to do is I am again going to put that numerator inside my division problem and my denominator on the outside of my division problem. I know that 4 goes into 1 0 times, and so now I'm going to add a decimal point and another 0. Okay, 4 goes into 10 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. 10 minus 8 is, we'll come back here. 10 minus 8 is 2. Okay, we do not deal with remainders when dealing with decimals because decimal technically is a remainder. So I'm going to add another 0. Okay, you're going to keep adding zeros until you've exhausted the numbers, until you've gone to the place value told. So if it says go to the hundredths place, you stop after that, or you see a pattern. Okay, most of these problems, I want to say every single one of these problems will terminate. They will end, so you don't have to continue on. If you start going and you get to like the 5th, 6th, or 7th number, most likely you've done something wrong and you're going to want to go back and check your math. Okay, I can't think of any problems that you guys will be dealing with that doesn't terminate. Okay, so I've added another 0. I'm going to bring that 0 down. 4 goes into 20 5 times. 5 times 4 is 20. And 20, okay, got it. 20 minus 20 is 0. Now there's one step that we still need to do. Okay, we need to remember to bring this decimal straight up. You've got to remember to bring that decimal straight up. And now I know that my answer is going to be 0.25. Okay. Again, this is the work that I should see on everybody's paper. Okay. All right, now I'm going to look at another problem, 3/8. So I'm going to take 3/8, I'm going to write that on my graph paper. Again, my numerator goes on the inside, denominator on the outside. Okay. 8 goes into 3 0 times. I do want you to put that 0 there. It's a good placeholder. I'm really big on placeholders. They're very important. It helps to keep, fill in all of our boxes so that we don't get lost in our work. Okay. Next, I'm going to add a decimal point and a 0. 8 goes into 30. I believe that is, what, 3 times? 3 times. 3 times 8 is 24. I'm going to subtract, and that gives me 6. Okay. Again, as I said, you need to keep going until you you got to keep going until the number terminates. Look, couldn't speak there. Okay, so I'm going to add another 0. Okay, so I've added that 0. Now I'm going to bring it down. All right, so now 8 goes into, what is it? 8 goes into 60, what, 7 times? So I'm going to put a 7 here. 8 times 7 is 56. I'm going to subtract again. Okay, now, as I said, you keep going until you either terminate or you see a pattern or the directions tell you to stop at a certain number. So I got to keep going. I'm going to add another 0. Bring that down. I think I found our end point. 8 goes into 45 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. At this point, I need to bring my decimal point straight up. And my answer is going to be 0.375. Okay, so again, guys, I want to make sure that we're clear here. You keep going, keep adding zeros until you get to until you cannot do, until you finish the problem. There's no more remainders. Okay, because there are no remainders. You got to keep going. You keep going until it terminates like it did here. You see that 40 minus 40 gave me that 0. So I know I don't have to add another 0. I'm done. Or you keep going until if the directions tell you to stop. So if the directions tell you to take it and round it to the nearest hundredth, you're going to know that you have to go to the thousandth and then stop there. You don't have to keep going. Okay? Like I said, though, most of the problems that you're going to be doing, the problems will terminate after, I believe it's after 3. I don't think you go much further than that. Okay? If you see that you're, getting on to like the 5th or 6th zero, go back and check your work. You may have missed something, and I don't want you to sit there all day because you missed a problem or missed an answer. All right, let's carry on here. All right, so, and here's our last one. At a meeting, people drank 25 bottles of water. The water came in packs of 8. This makes 3 1/8 packs. Write this number as a decimal. All right, so I am looking to take this number and change it from a mixed number into a decimal. So what's nice about this is I can kind of separate this problem out a little bit. So I'm going to take 3 1/8, and I'm going to say, okay, what am I actually saying here? I'm saying this is 3 plus the fraction 1/8. So I'm going to ignore this part right now. I'm just going to kind of push that off to the side, and I'm going to focus just on this 1/8. Okay, I'm going to take that, and I'm going to turn this into a decimal first. So I'm going to put that 8 on the outside and that 1 on the inside. Okay, I'm going to solve this. I'm going to add a decimal point, add a 0. 8 goes into 10 one time, gives me an 8 there. And I'm going to subtract. 10 minus 8 is 2. Going to add another 0. Whoa, come back here. Okay. 8 goes into 20 two times. That gives me 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. I'm going to add another 0. Again, guys, notice that I'm using one number per box. Okay, 8 goes into 40 5 times. 5 times 8 is 40. 40 minus 40 is 0. I've now done my division. I'm going to move this decimal point straight up. Okay. So now I'm going to take this 3 and I'm going to incorporate it back in. So I'm going to replace that 0 with a 3.125. Okay, and that would be my answer. Okay, so I just take that 3. Again, because I had that addition problem right here, I can just take that 3 out for now, put it back at the end right here, and get my answer. Okay, so the problem doesn't change, we're just changing that whole number. Okay, again, look at the division. This is the work that I'm doing for one problem. Okay, guys, so that's that. Let's take a look at our homework tonight. All right, so I'm going to write each fraction or mixed number as a decimal. So there's quite a bit here. Okay, there are quite a bit here. So make sure you use your time wisely today. All right. Then the second part is you're going to be writing these decimals as fractions in simplest form, and you're going to be writing these decimals as mixed numbers in simplest form. I cannot stress enough this part right here, guys. Simplest form. I cannot stress this enough. Simplest form. Okay, and finally, the big deal here, show your work. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a little extra time today to work on this because I do know that there is quite a bit that you need to do and there's a lot of math involved. please ask questions. Come and ask if you're doing it correctly. I'm giving you this extra time to make sure that you are doing this correctly. Okay? So use this time. It's going to take a while. Okay? It's going to take a while. Practice. The more you practice, the quicker it's going to get. But starting off, first time through, it's going to take you a while. All right, guys. So as I always say, if you have any questions, please let me know. Yeah, let's get to it.